What's up, everybody? My name is Nate, and welcome to an all-new episode of the Loud Casa Talks. And with me tonight is as always, my good buddy Omid. How you been doing, my good friend?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. Loud crowd and Casa Crew. How y'all doing? Huh?
I've been
Much
doing good
love.
myself.
Much love.
So how you been so far? I know we just did an episode last week, but how's your week been ever since?
Well, it's been pretty busy as usual. Of course, I am still working at Macy's and it's going fine so far, but let me tell you, it is busy as heck. And aside from that, I have been binging on a new miniseries on Netflix called The Queen's
Hmm.
Gambit. Oh my God, just
Oh,
such an
interesting.
amazing series. It's a really good series.
Oh, interesting.
Highly recommend it.
I've been trying to catch up on as much shows as I can, especially when it comes to animes and things like that, because that's just been continuing on and on and all. So I need to like have a relaxing time off. I apparently, as of right now, we currently don't have anything about the episode Cursed yet. So if that continues to stay as long of a hiatus as it is right now, I might just binge watch anime. we, we have to figure out when are we gonna have that that new Cursed episode.
I know, right? I heard it's coming in November though.
It
Cursed,
is. It's supposed to come out in 2 weeks, but we
yeah.
have no word about the episode. So
We'll wait and see
uh,
about details,
yeah. So I have a quick question for you. Since you're still working over at Macy's, how has safety protocols been? Since I've been hearing that coronavirus cases has been going up and all.
It's been going as usual. They take safety and health guidelines very seriously. Like, of course, there's wearing a mask. Like, there's a mask requirement, thankfully, and then there's whenever you're in line, you have to pretty much remain 6 feet, 6 feet distance. So social distancing, and of course, there's hand sanitizers on each floor. So thankfully, it's there where when we, the employees, and the shoppers, when they need hand sanitizer, when they need touch things, in order to shop. So thankfully, I work for a company that actually does take safety protocols seriously.
Yeah. I really wish for your safety, dude, just because it is the holiday season and I didn't expect malls to be so crowded. So really, I just hope for your safety over at where you work at right now.
Thanks. Yeah. We're doing our best to keep safe. So yeah.
Yeah. I think the best thing to do is just wear your face mask, hand sanitize, and just stay with the whole social distancing of 6 feet, and then we should be okay. So, I mean, for everybody out there who's listening right now, just try to stay safe, especially with this holiday season and all. All right. So
Yeah.
with that in mind, let's head straight to our recent news. Let's head over and pop that little sucker up here. All right. So on Instagram this past week, the Loud House and the Casagrandes both dropped an image previewing their new episodes coming this December, which are going to be the Christmas episodes. Unfortunately, they deleted a couple of hours ago, but this is a little segment of the Loud House. This is pretty small. I'm sorry, but this is the only image I can be able to grab here. What can you say about the pics that were shown on Instagram?
I definitely knew a Loud House Christmas episode was coming. However, a Casagrandes Christmas special was a pleasant surprise for me. Feliz Navidad, Casagrandes!
Yes. I mean, we can't wait for that.
Yes. So anyways, when I saw the Casagrandes image, I was very excited because the way that the characters were gathered together to bring joy to a particular character perfectly mirrored that beautiful moment in 11 Louds a Leapin' when the Louds and McBride sang what Christmas is all about and gave Mr. Grouse a bus ticket in order for him to see his family for Christmas. Something tells me that the Casagrandes Christmas episode will have a similar plot with Mr. Hong playing a similar role in this episode that Mr. Grouse played in 11 Louds a Leapin'. You can clearly show in the image that you got groups of families that live close to each other or live together, like sort of like looking at a particular character that they try to make happy. With the Casagrandes, it's Mr. Hong, and with the Louds, it's Mr. Grouse.
Yeah, I just
Look at
felt
that. You can
when I
clearly
first
show
saw
it.
that.
They're all looking at him.
Right, exactly. So I'm kind of like really interested in like how the Casagrandes Christmas is going to be, but I'm looking at this image right here and just feel like the whole apartment complex is going to. I don't know about impress Mr. Hong, but I know that they're going out caroling. Look, they have candles. Is everybody there? It just feels like that, Bobby's leading with his guitar. It's more of like a caroling circle as they go around, Great Lake City, caroling to anybody that's out there. I don't know if there's going to be like a little 11 Louds of Leaping situation where Mr. Hong is like the growl. It's like Mr. Grouse in 11 Louds of Leaping. I don't think he's that bad, that evil or anything. But I mean, looking at this, I mean, it looks promising that it's going to be looking like a really good Christmas episode, knowing that they have everybody pretty much involved in this episode. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other point, I know somebody pointed out in our somebody pointed it out in our Twitter here, but Ronnie Ann is not wearing like anything warm underneath. What are you doing, Ronnie Ann? Please wear something warm.
Oh God. Yeah. Don't catch hypothermia, Ronnie. Don't catch hypothermia.
Or is your like tights or anything like that? I mean, like Ronnie Ann, please just make sure you're warm,
seriously.
especially when it comes to the winter elements and stuff. Now, I mean, like, yeah, we were going to have a Christmas Casagrande special, but of course we have those 2 episodes of the Loud House as well. That image that we saw before seems to be something like you could solely see just like 11 Louds Leaping. But I mean, we already know the synopsis of those 2 Christmas episodes where Lincoln is planning on something with his presents, and we have a flip Christmas Carol episode. And both look promising, but I really am focused on that Lincoln episode more than the flip episode to be.
Yeah, same here because, well, it's flip. Like, you got to take Lincoln over flip, and trust me, we're going to get to the latter later.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be reviewing a lot of episodes, so I mean, you would imagine that. Yeah, we're going to review that episode soon anyways. But what are you hoping to see from these Christmas episodes when they air in December?
Well, what I'm hoping to see is that, well, I've already talked about what I would love to see from a flip Christmas Carol, so I'm not going to get too much into that. But the Lincoln episode, I know they're going to play it by the numbers, the same Lincoln Loud plot formula. However, I do hope that they add some sort of twist to it or they make it unique. But chances are I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah, I really hope that they're going to. I mean, look, it's a 15-minute episode. I thought they were going to make it a huge special, and I really do hope that they really put the main focus of A Christmas Carol in a Flipmas Carol in this case, because it feels like Flip is going to be the Scrooge, and there's going to be a Halloween past, present, and future. So I'm guessing they're going to pretty much point all of that, the whole main story of A Christmas Carol, in this 15-minute episode. I really hope they. I mean, like, kind of sucks that it is 15 minutes. I would wish it would actually be 30 minutes long because it would make sense to have it be 30 minutes and make it a special. But if they're going to wing it with 15 minutes of A Christmas Carol with Flip in it, they better do their best at it. Like I said, it's not the best episode I was looking forward to, but hopefully all promises lead to something good. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that, yeah.
Right. So, of course, there's still an episode that should be airing before these Christmas episodes, and that is Cursed. The premiere is still set for November 25th, unless Nickelodeon does something where they change the schedule again or take it off their schedule. There's still nothing right now, like no preview ad, no pictures, nothing to, give us a little focus on if we're going to have this Cursed episode premiering in 2 weeks. Are you still hoping that there will be a special on this date?
I am hoping that there is going to be a special on this date. Of course there is. Yeah, because Curse, like, that alone deserves to be a special because it is a huge Loud House and Casagrandes crossover, and the last Loud House Casagrandes crossover was a special of itself. It was a Thanksgiving special.
Right. Although, like, we have nothing yet. So what they need to do something about that. Hopefully this week we get an advertisement, but literally, like, they should have just put an advertisement at least, at last week besides this week. But, we just keep our hopes up because we're all waiting for at least some sort of confirmation that they're going to air it on November 25th, or else Nickelodeon is going to pull it off the schedule, and we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no, it's the last thing we want, especially for an episode like Cursed,
I mean, there's promises for Curse. It's just a lot of like potential with Casagrandes and the Louds mixing together, like they should have done in the Louder Thanksgiving. I think this could be a better Louder Thanksgiving, but we don't know if that's going to happen in November. We'll see.
We'll see, indeed.
All right, so let's move on to that's all the news that we actually have for this this time right now. But let's actually move on to our episode reviews. We're going to review the last 4 episodes that premiered: Blinded by Science, Band Together, What's Love Got to Do with It, and Dal M for Mustard. So let's actually go ahead to our first episode, Blinded by Science.
Oh boy.
All right, so synopsis here is that Lisa discovers that Flip is a marvel of modern science. Well, this is going to be a Flip episode coming in. How was your thoughts been with Flip before watching this episode?
Okay. At first, in the first 2 seasons, I didn't mind Flip all that much. Yeah, he was still gross and stuff, but at least they were using Flip sparingly. In comparison to seasons 4 and 5, that is when the character really, really overstays his welcome. It's gone to a point where whenever we see a scene of Flip, we as the audience roll our eyes and go, ugh, this guy again? And the reason why is because rather than Flip being a character in and of itself, he's just a plot device whose only role is to either start a conflict in an episode or make things worse for the Louds in the episodes he's in. I mean, Flipped Out was a boring dud in and of itself, but this episode, this episode.
Man, you got angry in this episode.
It is a whole new level of boring, cringe, disgust, contempt, emotional manipulation, honest manipulation, contrivance, every single negative verb you can find in a dictionary.
Oh, yes. Man.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at the big one.
Okay, so I really was, I really didn't like Flip ever since, what was it? The episode where they kept Flip, in the Loud House, to say the least. Sorry, House Flip. I think it was called House Flip. I don't remember the title, but to say the least, when they
House Flip, yeah,
I was just spacing out there, but just the fact that this is another Flip episode and more interesting facts about Flip come to mind, it really doesn't really help at all. First off, he's disgusting. Yes, he's really gross and things like that. I mean, you can totally see these last couple episodes from season 4 and season 5, but this episode, I think, just make it to a full potential that he actually is gross. Like, he's a really different person, having like stomachs in like other parts of the body, having 2 butts, having pretty much a lot of things that you never expect from a specimen like Flip, and it just came out of nowhere. I'm like, really? We're going to make Flip become a person of interest? That's the reason why, might be the reason why they're really focusing more on Flip in this season. And I'm like, really? These DK, look, secondary characters need more attention. We get that. We see that from like Lincoln Screw to Funny to how do I say the friend groups of everybody, like Lori and Carol, Lenny and her mall crew. But come on, we really would need more focus on Flip. Like, he's not really that great of a secondary character that I would love to put in the show. But well, I don't know what the writers are doing, but they're continuing on with this with Flip.
Yeah, I don't either. It kind of boggles me. It's like they overhype Flip for no reason. Why? Because he's voiced by John DiMaggio. Big deal. We have other characters voiced by John DiMaggio already.
I think we kind of overworking John DiMaggio with with Flip here.
Like, those 2 characters, Chunk and Mr. Grouse, they deserve to have much better screen time than Flip, and they are much better characters than he could ever be.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, like, it was just absolutely like disgusting when we saw this episode. But anyways, let's move on, because we see Flip as a strange being with a lot of body parts, like I said before, all over the place on his body, and it's like, gross, and also the fact that he has 2 butts. And I'm like, oh, come on. They really just put this up to make him like a very interesting character. So I want to ask you, Omid, did his physique make you like Flip a little more? I don't know why you're drinking water. Oh, come no. I hope you don't stain your floor.
Wait, what? Did you just say his physique character make me like Flip a little more? Am I supposed to say yes? Really? Okay.
I thought this would make it better. I mean, you look, having another episode with Flip. I thought that would make it better.
Okay, show of hands. Who here in this chat is really expecting me to say yes? Everyone, show your hands right now.
Look. I mean,
now to those who are raising their hands, are thinking yes, or are even typing in the comments yes, let me ask you: are you all out of your minds? Really? If anything, it made me like Flip way less. I mean, my God, that whole scene with Lisa showing Flip's 4 butt cracks, and oh God, I am literally throwing up in my mouth just describing it. I'm not joking.
Oh my goodness!
And also, and another thing, and there's more. A heart in his belly. I'm not kidding. A heart in his belly. What the flip? Really?
No pun intended.
Oh my God! Like, what a spit in the face to human anatomy. Such a disgrace. Such a shame. Ugh.
I have to say, like, oh my God, like, okay. I mean, like, first off, when you introduce Flip in this episode, he already was disgusting. I mean, he's eating cheese off from the Flip's, like, I don't know, cheese little vat that he had. And already, I mean, the fact that he ate the cheese and he started farting out somewhere else, and the fact that Lisa continued to, look into Flip and started to see all the grotesque, nasty stuff that he had. And it just made me like not like Flip a little more. I mean, it's just, I mean, if you're trying to impress Flip with just how amazing of a specimen Flip is, I don't think it was actually working. Just with the fact that he's still disgusting of a person. So it really didn't impress me. Apparently, Omi doesn't like him at all.
Yeah, honestly, like I thought I was getting tired of Flip before. I was getting a bit tired of Flip before. This episode, it was the straw that brought the camel's back. It really is. Like, honestly.
Look, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with it either. I mean, like, if you're really going to focus on a Flip episode, at least have something where Flip has a change of heart or something like that, instead of like making him a character where it's like very grotesque and stuff. I don't think he's going to be the same. I don't think it's going to be a character changing moment here in this episode. Either way, I don't think he's going to change one little bit. I mean, the fact that he's just like a character who we never thought that it would be very disgusting, but here you are now. We now know more about Flip, but it's not like a good thing for Flip though. It's just a person who's just an absolutely different creature to say.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is he, a mutant or something? Was he raised by mutants? Like, what the
I don't know.
Maybe
he grew up with like I don't know how to make things work in a body. I don't know anatomy, but this is how it's supposed to be for a human being.
God, just it was one of the worst things I've ever experienced.
Okay. Besides talking about Flip, let's move on to the episode point here, because Flip would be featured as a science experiment for Lisa, which would bring attention to a mysterious scientist who would want him for a mission to Mars. It would be a rescue mission for Lisa to rescue Flip from the hands of those scientists. How do you like this whole sequence in this episode?
Okay, now, aside from the Clink and McCloud team up, which I would admit, it was actually a pretty cool sequence. There's nothing really noteworthy about it. And we really do think about it, they're beating up adults. Like, they somehow managed to defeat adult scientists who are not only taller than them, not only bigger than them, not only smarter than them, they've had experience in their own field. So how do they get defeated so easily? I don't know, because, they get plot powers or something like that. I don't know. Now, at least compared to a lot of other sequences, a lot of other much, much better Loud House episodes, honestly, like when it's not contrived, it's pretty forgetful. And also, really, Lisa, you're really going out of your way and risking your life to save Flip of all people. You're really going to save a guy who left you and your siblings to freeze to death until you gave him a golden rap, a guy who almost split a friendship between your brother and his friend, a guy who rips people off of their money, a guy you don't even have a close relationship on any level. It's like, really? Really? Honestly, here's what boggles my mind. You could have replaced Flip with any other character, and it would have made a lot more sense, and it would have made the chemistry felt natural. You could have replaced Flip with Darcy. We've been waiting for a Lisa and Darcy episode ever since Friend or Foe, and somehow we never really got it. But we somehow got Lisa and Flip before Lisa and Darcy? What? Really? Like I said, what the flip? And also, replace Flip with Pop Pop. We've seen how Lisa Pop Pop, we've seen Pop Pop give her all these Lisa hugs. So we've seen how, much of a bond they have because Lisa was worried that Pop Pop would die soon. And hell, even Mr. Grouse, going back to what I was saying about being better John DiMaggio characters than Flip, even Mr. Grouse would have made a lot more sense to use in a Lisa Loud episode rather than freaking Flip.
Oh my goodness, you just really hate him. Oh man. Okay, so to say the least, okay, well, look, you just pretty much sink that in there, but yeah, I get the whole sequence about Flip being rescued here. If I was Lisa, to be honest, I would just still let him be in that scientist lab going to Mars, because he is a crazy little creature there. But it turned out that Lisa still continues to be, having a heart for Flip in this case. But I have to say this though. I mean, I think the Lincoln and Clyde, engagement here made it a little bit better. Because I know that, Lisa does need help to rescue Flip in this case. Kind of unfortunate there. But the fact that Lincoln and Clyde were there to help Lisa out, especially when it comes to a thing like this, I think was also pretty heartwarming. The fact that here's Click and McCloud in a rescue mission to help save Lisa from, help save Flip from, going all the way to outer space and stuff. But if I was Lisa in this case, I would have still let Flip get off to Mars. It's just interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly,
right, so,
I was actually rooting for the scientist. I actually wanted her to blast Flip into outer space.
Look, little incognito labs or whatever laboratory that she was in. Okay, yeah, I guess that she pretty much had the same thing like Lisa, where she had like this street name, quote unquote street name thing. And I'm like, okay, wow, you're absolutely like are learning from Lisa or something. But yeah, I guess a mysterious scientist will not help with Lisa in this case. Oh man. All right, so anything else you want to bring up in this episode?
Okay, now I'm going to be honest. It's a very long time since I have been this angry at an episode. No episode in season 3 drove me to this level. Even the bad episodes in seasons 1 and 2 do not come close to the atrociousness that is this episode. I'd much rather watch Brawl in the Family and Leonard Takes All back to back than watch a single minute of this absolute trash. At least neither episode got me to feel sympathy for a character who doesn't deserve any sympathy at all. Blinded by Science actually makes me, honestly, it is the worst Loud House episode I have ever seen in the entire series. It's that bad. The new bottom of the barrel. Not only is it Loud House at its grossest, not only is it Loud House at its most contrived, not only is it Loud House with a duo with no chemistry at all, no pun intended, but the episode plagues from its most fatal flaw of them all. It's an episode that tries to manipulate its audience. It's an episode that tries to get you to feel sympathy for a character who clearly does not deserve any sympathy at all. Trying to get you to feel sorry for a guy who, like I said, leaves children to freeze to death and scams people out of their money. Hoping that Lisa comes to rescue this creature because, oh, he's a human too. Give me a break. And by the way, I was actually rooting for Dr. Linares in this episode. I was completely on her side. I actually wanted her to do Royal Woods the biggest favor of their lives and blast this creature into outer space where he can never be a nuisance to any human being ever again. I only wish nothing but the best for the Martians who would have to deal with him in the future. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since I gave this a low rating, but dang it, I'm going to do it anyway. This episode is a 2 out of 10.
Wow,
Yes,
a
a
2.
2 out of 10.
Wow.
I'm not going to be generous and give it a 4. It is a freaking 2. It is a flippin' 2. And the only reason I don't give it a 1 is because there were a couple of moments with Lincoln that are pretty cool, like his team up with Clyde and him being a big bro to Lisa. Oh, and also, even though the title card of the episode is really misleading, I'll admit the title card does look really cool. I just wish that it was used for an episode that is actually worth watching. But other than that, no. This episode is a manipulative, grotesque trash that I will never watch again. And honestly, I am wishing that the people would stop wasting their time and energy destroying No Such Luck and Kings of the Con when it could be much better spent tearing this episode apart limb to limb. This is an episode that definitely deserves the No Such Luck treatment.
Now we don't want to bring those episodes up, all right, again, please. We already know the travesty of those two. But I mean, look, I gotta be generous in this. I mean, look, I mean, it's a pretty fun sequence when they had Lisa try to rescue Flip. But yeah, I mean, it's just look, I have to give sympathy though. I mean, the fact that they wanted to rescue Flip, it looked like a really good little rescue mission though. The fact that Lisa tried to help out with Flip in this case. Really cool sequence that they had over there when they tried to rescue him. And like I said, really do love the impact of what Lincoln and Clyde are doing to help Lisa out. I have to say this, I'm not giving it a 2 to say. I'm giving this like a 6 out of 10 to say. I mean, like, yeah, I really don't like Flip. The creature is a real weird human being, and I really hope that we light a less in the focus when it comes to Flip. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, there's probably going to be more Flip episodes. Just watch. And if it every time, I mean, the other thing too is like every time Flip comes in, it just kind of makes me feel a little bit down. But I really hope that we don't get more Flip episodes. But if we do get more Flip episodes, let's have something where it's like, you know, something that can make us a little bit more impressive with Flip. You know, it can't just be like, you know, him being all grotesque and him going all the way to, you know, to Mars or have a big scientist thing or anything like that. But I mean, like I said, 6 out of 10 for me. I can't say much. I do want to bring this point out though. What happened to those scientists? Because they did get launched into Mars.
Honestly,
like they could be dead by now. I don't know what, they just killed off people. And I was like, what?
Like I said, it should have been Flip going to outer space. Like I said,
right, it could have been him. It could have been the end of Flip in this case.
Honestly, another thing too is that it was wasted potential. Like they could have had a character much more suitable for the rescue mission. Like I said, rescue Mr. Grouse, rescue Darcy. Like they would be much better candidates. It would have made for a much better episode because with Lisa and Darcy, they have much better chemistry because they're best friends. And with Mr. Grouse, he's a much more likable character.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I want to go harsh when it comes to this review of Blinded by Science, but I have to say, I don't give like really bad ratings on episode reviews. I mean, I'll give a bad rating to Rootless People. That I think was my worst rated episode. So, but yeah, like I said, can't really say much about this. I don't give really bad ratings like what you did right now, but yeah, 2 out of 10. That's saying something.
How merciful you are, Nate. How merciful you are.
Look, I'm being sympathetical to all the episodes when it comes to the Loud House and the Casagrandes, okay?
I mean, I try to be too, but when it's an episode that is this deplorable, no. I gotta be honest and just, show no mercy.
Okay, then. I don't know if you want to show mercy on this next episode, though, as we continue on with the reviews here. The next episode we're going to talk about is Band Together. Now, the synopsis here is Luna has to make a decision for the future of her and her bandmates. That is not actually the synopsis. This is actually just pretty much a summary of what this episode's about. So they have a brand new band, Luna, Sam, Mazzy, and Sully. They're pretty much the Moon Goats. How did you like the Moon Goats with these guys?
Ah, yes. Oh, talk about a complete mouthwash. Oh, so refreshing. Now, this was an episode that I needed to wash the disgusting taste of that thing we were just talking about. Now it's time for me to talk about an episode that is actually worth remembering. Now, this is the longest time that we have seen of Mazzy and Sully actually having speaking roles and being prominently shown in the Loud House episode. I mean, we've seen a little bit of them in Elves for Love, but this is actually the first time that we've seen him in a main role, I would say. So it was about time that we have seen them as a band have a starring role. And it was just, it was a sight to behold, because we have had Luna episodes, we have had Luna and Sam episodes, but we haven't had an episode starring the whole band. And I was very excited and wanted to see what they could do with a Moon Goats episode. The episode really does capture the perfect chemistry of the band as a whole. They do feel like a legit squad, and they have fun together. They even pull pranks on each other. And guess Luna has learned a thing or two from her roommate, am I right? So not only do I love the Moon Goats as a band, I also love the Moon Goats as a band. I also love them as a group of friends who have similar passion for music, and I was hoping nothing could tear them apart. But unfortunately, Luna comes to a decision that almost made it seem so.
So to say the least, I mean, I love the whole story route that the writers are doing right now, because I mean, if you look back at Deep Cuts, it feels like this is going to be the route that Luna is going to be on, like Luna and her band, the Moon Goats, that we now finally have a name for that band. I mean, that's pretty much the destiny for Luna in this case, because look, she was going for her rise in stardom when she went to Really Loud Music, and it feels like she wants to bring Sam along too, so why not have a band episode? And, I'm guessing this is how the writers are going to do it right now, where Luna is growing up, and she's trying to make sure this Moon Goats band that she's making right now, it turns out to be like a very positive thing for the band. And that's the reason why this episode came in together, is because this is a future of what Luna is going to be. It looks like she wants to be a rock star, and she wants to bring her friends along too. So I love the fact that they're going with this route, and I love the fact that Moon Goats are existing. So I would love to see more Moon Goats episodes, but this is a really good introduction to this Moon Goats team, because it's like Mazzy, Sully, Sam, and Luna. So, and the fact that they're going to have episodes together, I think this is going to be great. Like having this idea of a band moving on in the Loud House, that's for sure.
Amen, bro. Amen. I want to see more Moon Goats episodes. Like,
yes,
honestly,
the band looks great. I love this band.
We've
had not even much of the band; they just performed one song.
Yes, because we've seen a good portion of Luna episodes. It's Luna and Sam episodes. Why not throw in Mazzy and Sully into the mix as well? Give it like Luna, Sam, Mazzy, and Sully episodes.
We want to see more of that. They gotta go through that route where Luna is going to continue growing with this band with Mazzy, Sully, and Sam. I would imagine that this is going to be a new future thing for the Loud House crew, especially with Luna in her route, and her future, that is. All right, so the band looks to impress a talent agent, manager, who did like the band, but actually liked Luna instead, which led to a huge decision for Luna. How did you like this little part of the episode?
While it is disheartening to see Luna accept the offer and leave her friends behind, I can understand why she would do it. This is a huge offer which could step up her music career. So she's doing what is best for her and her future. So really, you can't really hate her for doing that. Plus, I do love that the episode explores a brand new situation that Luna is in. It's a situation that musicians in general do get into. It shows what happens when you leave your band of friends for a chance of fame. It also asks the viewers the question as well, would you do the same thing Luna would? Would you leave a group of friends for the sake of fame and fortune? Would you really do that? Would you choose to quote the SpongeBob episode, you've got to choose. You've got a choice to make, your friends or your career.
Right.
You remember that SpongeBob episode? Where
I remember that episode, yeah. I mean, that's a really classic episode, though.
Yeah, I just thought I'd paraphrase it. Yeah.
Look, it was a really interesting twist that happened in this episode, because I didn't expect to see, this band to be so huge, where the agency was, where that, that little manager was actually saying, hey, your band is great, but I really do just like this one person who is Luna. And that was a twist to say, like, oh, okay, cool, the band is awesome, but no, wait, Luna is going to be the main focus in this. And I'm like, oh, that would just reaches my heart. I'm like, Luna, are you sure you want to leave your band like that? Or you really want to pursue your future career? I mean, like, you try to do that in Really Loud Music. And you want to bring your band together. This is like a really heart-wrenching moment here. It's like, okay, cool, we got introduced to the band, and now we're going to split the band up right now. I'm like, oh. But Luna, Luna did say yes, and she started, rocking out with that band. And I like the fact that even if she decided to move on with that band, the whole bandmates came in to say, "Hey, this is your career. We're not stopping you from moving with a passion for your career." So it's like, I understand Luna's point when it comes to making a decision to move on into a band that will be more popular, maybe more famous for her. But I just have a strong feeling. I have a really strong feeling like, this band would be so much better with Luna involved. Like, this Moon Goats band looks great. I just wish Luna would still be there. So, I mean, like, it's really, an indecisive decision that I had to say. I'm like, Luna would be much better with the Moon Goats, but I mean, it's for her career that it's better. Like you said, I mean, it's like, do you like your fans or do you like your career? It's just interesting how this goes. This whole twist was just interesting. But yeah, I must say, it was really a heart-wrenching moment there, I must say. I'm like, oh man, why would you move on to a band that you never recognize instead of, hanging out with Sam, Mazzy and Sully with the Moon Goats and all? But yeah, we'll continue on with more talks on this, but yeah.
Yeah, it really tore my heart too when she made her choice, because we've seen the legit chemistry between Luna and her bandmates, how they have fun together, they pull pranks with each other. Like, so honestly, just seeing Luna make the decision that she made, while understandable, was also heart-wrenching. Like, honestly, I feel bad for Luna's bandmates. Like, even though they said they support her, you could tell how understandably heartbroken they are when Luna comes to that decision.
Yeah, although when I look back at the episode, I know Luna made that decision, but the other thing too is, like, this is a different band than your current Moon Goats band. They don't do pranks. They don't, scream out loud, do all, shenanigans that Luna does as a lead singer. So, this is absolutely different. Of course, Luna does not like, of course, the whole band doesn't like what Luna's doing, but still, she's still part of that band. And that just makes me feel like, yeah, Luna, you'd rather just move move back to your band if possible.
Yeah, honestly, like, you got to go with whatever's more fun for you, like fun over fame, pretty much. Because they're your friends. You formed a deep bond with them. You never really had a bond with the famous rock musicians. Like sort of like it gives Luna a lesson to learn, which does build up her humility, which like, it's sort of like how I think it's more like, I think that's why Luna looks to Chunk as like sort of a big brother figure, not just a roadie, because Chunk himself already has that humility, like that humbleness, rather than, going for fame. He just does it for fun, which is what we've seen in Roadie to Nowhere. So I think that in these episodes, Roadie to Nowhere and this, like, Luna is learning what it truly means to be a rock star, that rather than just for fame, like, the most important thing is to have fun with it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point to put out there. So yeah, we've talked about how Luna's direction, what she did, and when she decided to, move over to that band. But of course, after all of what's been going on in that band, she wants to move back with the Moon Goats. But you get to see that Chunk became the guitarist for that band instead of Luna now, so they found a replacement. Although when Luna wanted to go back to the band, you get to see that the manager wants to see, Luna wanted to make sure that she could get replaced. So that's why she brought the manager back in for her to see Chunk. And apparently Chunk did a really good job that he's actually joined the band. Now, this kind of pulls up a big point here. Chunk is joining that band, and Luna's going back with the Moon Goats, so we're going to see more of the Moon Goats episodes, which is great, but Chunk's moving through that band, and it makes me feel that Chunk may not be coming back anymore. I mean, what are your thoughts on Chunk, possibly leaving?
Dude, I really like Chunk. I hope that we get more episodes of him. Like, honestly, I feel like he's my favorite John DiMaggio character in the Loud House. Like, he is a big bloke with a big heart. like, I really do really like the character. So, and I feel that, like I said, he plays a part as a caring big brother to Luna. Um, not just a roadie, but like I said, like he's a big bro to Luna by the way he helps her out, he gives her good advice, pretty much knows the ins and outs of rock and roll, um, and pretty much like I said, I hope it's not the last time we've seen him. Like he's such a humble, really cool guy.
All right. But to me, it just feels like it's about to be time for Chunk to go. I mean, like if he's going to go to that path, where he will become a rock star, that will fulfill the episode, the part in the episode Roadie to Nowhere. Remember that one part, next stop, his quote as a senior, next stop rock and roll fame? It's a possible chance that it could be rock and roll fame for him. So
next
to say the least,
rock and roll fame.
Yeah, to say the least, like this is helpful for Chunk for him to go to this band and rock with them. So if anything, this could be a perfect chance for for Chunk to pursue his rock and roll fame while Luna continues to pursue hers, but she brings her band along with her as well. So both sides, they both ended up with like a good solution here. But like I said, it could be the end of Chunk that we'll see in the Loud House, which, to be honest, I'm not surprised. I mean, like Chunk, we have not seen him in forever. If he ever does come back, he'll probably be with that band. But to say the least, if this is the end of Luna's roadie, then good for him though. He's going to pursue his dream.
Yeah, I hope he does. He really does deserve it. Like I said, like the kind of guy he is, like he himself deserves the fame. Like he deserves it all. I hope he has a bright future out of him.
Right. So anything else you want to point out in this episode?
Really? Okay. I love this episode. I know it's no surprise how I feel, given that it's a Luna episode, and Luna is my favorite character, but really, it's no bias at all. It's still a legitimately amazing episode. It explores Luna's music career even more. It raises big questions of friends versus fame, and the bond and friendship between Luna and her bandmates. Oh, it was a sight to behold. Also, Luna and Sam squishing cheeks.
Oh, that was cute. God. That was a cute moment. Yes.
I was literally squealing. I was like, oh my God. That's so
Look, we get it. We get it. Sam and Luna are a confirmed ship, and I'm like the fact that they sang together and have their cheeks squish. It was actually pretty cute.
God. More of that, please. More of that. Moon Goats rock. Saluna rocks. This episode as a whole rocks. Oh my God. It all just rocks. This is definitely a 9 out of 10. While some can argue that Luna leaving her bandmates was a bit douchey, I can't say they're wrong. And I can't say they're wrong. It is understandable why she would do it. And she herself said it was hard for her to do, but it is for her to explore what goes on when she goes with a famous band like this. And like I said, it's for her to learn an important, humble lesson when choosing her bandmates and her path.
I have to say this, like it really was. I mean, it was bound to be a really good episode. I really was never expecting to see that it was going to be an episode where they were going to twist the little plot around, because I thought it was just going to be the whole band, hanging out together and becoming huge or something like that. But I feel like if they're going to do it in that route, it's going to be so quick when it comes to this story of Luna and the Moon Goats. So when they made that decision where Luna had to pursue her own career, I thought in that decision, she was going to stick with the band, stick with her band, the Moon Goats. But it does make sense why Luna wanted to move on to her career. I mean, look, she wants to pursue something big. She tried her best in really loud music, but you know what happened there? Somebody wants to change up her image and things like that. So if she's going to change her image again, like she moves on to a decision where she has to go to this band, which is totally different from what the Moon Goats are. And yeah, it could be a little bit of a douchey move that Luna did that, but at the same time, just like I said, her career is important as well. So, and the fact that her bandmates were behind it, I thought that was cute. But it was amazing. Like, I thought this episode was great, especially when you're looking into the story of Luna's path for her future. So I really hope that this would continue with more episodes of the Moon Goats. I don't know what other kind of shenanigans will happen, but hopefully this band would become big with maybe a different manager instead of that one woman. But we'll see how it goes. But my rating for this, I will have to give this a 9 out of 10 as well. I really think this is an exceptional episode compared to the last episode that we just reviewed. Because look, we're not going to focus more on that. We're focusing more on the Loud sisters and their career paths. I mean, like the fact that each sister has their own route, and now we're looking at Luna's route this time. It looks great. Like, it looks amazing. I mean, we already did look at like all the possible chances for like Lori to grow up. I mean, she's now in college. You get to see Lenny in her episode that happened in season 5. I have to say, like, look, there's a lot of possible stories that are happening with this, and I love how every Loud is currently being portrayed in here. And I think this is a perfect episode for Luna, knowing that she's moving on in her future with this band, the Moon Goats. So yeah, I would say 9 out of 10. Really love it. There's a good introduction of how this Moon Goats band is going to start. Let's hope that more Moon Goats episodes come for the Loud House, that is.
Amen. Hey, listen, in terms of my favorite episode of season 5, honestly, this is between Band Together and Boss Maybe. Like, it's sort of like head to head, sort of a toss up between the two.
I have to say, yeah. I mean, I can't say much. We still have a lot more season 5 episodes to go through, so I can't really say a certain episode yet that I will say my favorite would be on season 5. So let's just keep it at that for now. All right, so let's move on to our next episode. Let's go straight to the Casagrandes episodes. Let's start it off with this episode called What's Love Got to Do With It? Oops. Sorry, that's not how it's supposed to do it. Here we go. What's love got to do with it?
What's love got to do?
Let's
got
see.
To do it.
After the magician hypnotizes Bobby into thinking he's a cat, the family needs to snap him out of it. So, how are you liking Bobby being a cat throughout most of the episode?
All right. I gotta say, it was pretty weird, to say the least. I mean, it's Bobby being turned into a cat. Sure, let's roll with it. But overall, I say this episode is okay. I mean, I know it's a wacky slice of life show, but it's a bit out there, you know, like even for a wacky slice of life. But on the other hand, though, Bobby is so cute as a cat.
Aww.
Oh, look at that. So adorable. Like, oh, I love cats. I love cats. I can't stay mad at you. I can't stay mad at this episode. Aww.
Wow, she's a good cat.
It's a good Bobby. Good Bobby.
Oh, God.
Good Bobby.
My goodness.
Anyway. Okay, let me rephrase that. This episode was good fun. Also,
Papaya, indeed.
Papaya.
Look, papaya. That's great. Yes, papayas are great. But I mean, like, this episode, I think, was absolutely hilarious. Look, you may judge the fact that this episode is more of Bobby being a cat and all, but I think he's just absolutely hilarious how he turns into a cat and then doesn't. He turns into a cat and then he doesn't. And the way that, you know, he'll turn into a cat by a ring of a bell. So it kind of sucks that like every little situation in the Mercado becomes a bell. So he starts off being a cat. It turns out to be a really cute cat and all. So I can't hate on that. And the other thing too is like all the other things that he's doing as a cat, like he's licking himself, he's purring, he's hissing, he's doing all of this. And I thought the whole fact of this episode was absolutely hilarious. Like, okay, you got me with how Bobby is trying to act like a cat and everything. It's great. I mean, like,
I honestly wanted Bobby to go, yeah.
Nah, oh God, we've Jesus Christ. Okay, so yeah, we pretty much brought up our points about how Bobby is like as a cat. But in the beginning of the episode, we get to see the point of the Casagrandes hating cats. So, you know, there's a little situation here where Bobby became a cat that led themselves to like a little conundrum here. How do you like the family's change of heart as Bobby continues to be a cat?
Like I said, while it's sort of a contrived way to get the message across, it is nice to see that the Casagrandes don't have a hatred of cats like they used to. And since I am a cat person myself, despite being allergic to them, I can say for myself that it was very nice to see. Also, papaya!
Again, look, we're back to humans, okay? Yeah. Yeah, I thought that point was kind of like interesting. Like, oh, you hate cats because of the whole gang of cats. There's a reason why in the Casagrandes they don't have a cat there. I mean, they probably will hate the Loud House's cat in this case. But I love the fact that that the point that they're bringing up here is that Bobby, you're still a human being even if you're a cat. So we're still trying to make you a family member no matter what, even if you act like a cat. And I like the fact that they're trying to accommodate as much as they can when it came to like his room becoming like cat stuff, like little furry cat stuff and everything, scratching posts and things like that. So they're trying to accommodate and all. But yeah, it was interesting. Like they hated it, but they brought back the idea there. So yeah. All right. So lastly, Bobby would stop being hypnotized after being hit in the head from a fall. How'd you like this whole little resolution that they put up for this episode?
I sort of knew that it was going to come when Bobby would permanently stop being a cat by the end of the episode. And I was thinking, okay, that happened. That's how Casagrandes and Loud House episode plots usually are. The conflict goes all the way until the last minute, until it gets resolved. It's not a bad thing, but I felt it was a bit too quick. Also, papaya.
You need more papayas. What's happening here? Now you want me to get a papaya.
But want a papaya. Come on.
Okay, so eventually they're going to have a realization. They're going to have a resolution when it comes to Bobby. Look, he's not going to be a cat forever, I would imagine so. But like, yeah, a hit in the head with a hard fall. I mean, that's kind of little foreshadowing. I think like it's something that I see in cartoons a whole lot when it comes to like people who have amnesia
or hypnosis or something like that.
Not hypnotized, or people with amnesia, for example. Like they get hit in the head hard and then their memory comes back. I've seen that all over cartoons sometimes. So they did that whole bit here, and like that's a good way to have a resolution here. I guess that works, but I wouldn't expect him. I would expect hypnotism to also work as well, but who cares? As long as this episode was actually pretty fun. All right, so anything else besides papaya that you want to point out in this episode?
Well, what can I say except papaya?
Come on.
I understand again. I understand papaya again. But in all seriousness, though, this episode was fine. It was all good fun. Not an episode I would constantly rewatch, but it was still interesting to see with the hypnotization of one of the characters. Also, Bobby as a cat is totes. Like, he's a kawaii nyan. Kawaii nyan. That's enough. Also, overall, it's a 7 out of 10 papayas.
7 out of 10? That's not bad. I would have to say, definitely a pretty good episode. Like I said, I was just absolutely laughing throughout this whole episode. It's just more of the comedy that made this episode what it is. I mean, you may think that it's a bad episode knowing that Bobby is a cat and all. It's like, really? We're going through a route where Bobby's a cat? But, I mean, they made the episode, very funny and comedic, and, you thought it was going to be a disaster or something like that. But no, that turned out to be a really funny episode. Like him being hypnotized, being a cat, and all that. I thought that was just great. I would have to give this an 8 out of 10 for a rating. Just the fact of the comedy part. It's just really funny to just see how Bobby becomes a cat, and also the significance of the family, coming together, not hating cats anymore, especially when Bobby became a cat. I think that's really heartwarming for the family, just to say, hey, we're going to settle our differences. We want to make sure that you're accommodated for the episode. I mean, accommodated for the household.
Yeah, honestly, if I could say one thing, is that this episode is better than it needed to be.
Yeah, I think when we came in, we thought our thoughts for this episode was going to be bad, but it turned out to be actually pretty good for us. So yeah, like I said, good ratings for all of us here. All right, so let's move on to the last episode that also aired for the Casagrandes, called Dal M for Mustard. Now, in the synopsis here, Ronnie Ann and her friends uncover the mystery of the disappearance of Bruno's hot dog cart. So, how do you like this little noir theme that has been going on in this episode?
Oh, I loved it. It was like the Casagrande staff looked at Maltese Bear short from the Loud House, and they thought to themselves, okay, we could do a noir-themed episode as well, but instead it will be 10 minutes of pure mystery solving.
I thought it was actually pretty nice just to have the whole Casagrandes crew trying to figure out this little mystery here. And it was actually mostly on this episode where it's like Ronnie Ann, CJ, and Carl trying to figure out like how this hot dog cart came to be missing and things like that, because everyone loves Bruno's hot dogs. And for it to be missing was a big, huge thing. So I really like the whole synopsis here of having the whole Casagrandes crew coming together to figure out this mystery, and the fact of a noir themed mystery that is it looks back into like the Maltese Bear when we saw in the Loud House. Kind of felt like that, you know?
Yeah, it really did. It most certainly did. And oh my gosh, the hot dogs themselves, I'm just thinking to myself, okay, I got to try and be one of those. If only they were actually good, looks that good in real life.
Look, if Ronnie Ann likes those hot dogs, I probably would like those as well. If we can ever have like a hot dog that Bruno makes, you got to go to Great Lake City if that's the case.
Or we can go for bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Hey, shut up! I miss Fanime, okay? I love those.
Fanime memories, bro. Fanime memories.
Those
right?
are good too. Don't you come back to me and talk about bacon wrap hot dogs? Oh man, it's just crap. All right. Let's move on.
Hot dog. We take Venmo. Hot dog.
Oh god. Let's move on. We're getting off topic here, but how do you like the events in the investigation that they're running?
Take note, Colonel of Truth. This is how you keep a mystery mysterious. I enjoyed Detective Carl. I enjoyed the Ronnie Ann and cousin team up. I enjoyed Bruno. I enjoyed the chase. I enjoyed a lot of things. Well, except for a bit of gross out here and there.
Yeah, but that's his own little comedy, though. I would say, though, yeah, you're right. When you look back and see how Colonel of Truth did it versus what Dial M for Mustard did, I would say they did a really good job when it comes to the theming of a mystery episode versus what Colonel of Truth did. But like I said, the Casagrandes did it much better than, to say the least, because I like how the mysterious part comes in where they're investigating people and trying to figure out the clues and finding their culprit who stole the hot dog cart. I thought it was like a really good made episode for that,
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, so Ronnie Ann, CJ, and Carl would find out that Vito would be the one that would take the cart. Was that like a little surprising to you?
It's funny. I was actually half expecting it to be Vito, and the other half I was expecting Arturo, to be honest. By the way, he was one of the judges at the hot dog contest, and he really dug Bruno's hot dogs. But no, it wasn't that much of a surprise given that Vito is Bruno's #1 customer.
Yeah, but the other thing too, like the way that they build it up, because it could be anybody. It could just be straight to Vito. Because the other thing too is like when they investigated the other people, like Hector, Laird, and Vito in this case, I was like, okay, anybody could be a suspect in this case because there was nothing leading into whoever wanted to steal Bruno's hot dog cart. It did make sense in the back of my mind, like, yeah, Vito would be that one person. But I mean, like, look at the other people that also would be able to take it. Like Hector would be a person that would do that as well. I mean, the way that they talked about and how Hector was competing at this hot dog pageant, and of course he wants to sabotage Bruno's chances by taking that hot dog cart. Or I don't know how Laird got into that, but I thought it was actually cute, like Laird saying like his innocence. But of course we already know that he's innocent. And of course Vito, in his case, we get it. Like he's so sad that the hot dog cart was gone, that he was trying to prove his innocence there. But of course he was the one who actually took the cart, and I thought that was like a twist in the story as well. I'm like, you like hot dogs from Bruno, but you ended up taking his cart. You want him to win, right? And then you also did bring up the point here that Vito doesn't want Bruno to leave for Venice or whatever that Italian place that he was going to go to for vacation. So maybe in a case you probably would know why Vito did it. It kind of felt like a Scooby-Doo sort of moment here when you watch this episode. But it's two different aspects, if you want to say it that way, because like Scooby-Doo is its own great mystery show versus what the Casagrandes did in this episode.
Yeah, honestly, like you got me thinking, like you can imagine like Ronnie Yen just saying, now let's see who is the max hot dog thief behind all this, and then they pull out the mask. It's like Vito.
see, something Scooby-Doo-ish. Classic show, by the way, really classic show.
And I wouldn't have gotten away with it too if it weren't for these meddling Casagrandes.
Yeah, they see, you would have got something like that. All right, so anything else you want to bring up in this episode?
Yes, I honestly feel that Vito kind of got off a bit too easy. I mean, at the end of the day, he did steal the card and almost cost Bruno the competition. So honestly, I feel that Vito should have had some comeuppance, but that's just me. Now, for my overall rating, I'm definitely going to give it an 8 out of 10 hot dogs. There was a bit of gross out here and there, and I feel that the ending could have been a bit stronger with Vito getting some comeuppance. But other than that, though, it was such a mysterious episode that kept me at the edge of my seat, and I was waiting to see who really stole the cart. And it was just overall just a fun mystery episode centered around the Casagrandes.
Yeah. So I only want to point out one other thing. We are not forgetting Arturo. Arturo is appearing more in episodes of the Casagrandes, which is good because, Arturo is also a part of the Casagrandes crew as well. I love the fact that he's a judge. And another thing I also do want to point out, remember Hector and Arturo don't like each other? It makes sense why also Hector showed a little bit of hate toward Arturo here. Like, look, like who made this like Arturo was the judge of the hot dog thing anyway. So he's like, who made this guy a judge? I'm like, okay, this is like this is the mystery that also unfolds us too.
Yeah, it's sort of a jab, right?
Yeah, it's just sort of a jab of like, okay, I get it. Like you both hate each other. And that makes sense how you guys hate each other. I mean, like, yeah, you're Maria's ex-husband, and of course Hector's. Yeah, there's a family orientate. There's a sort of family thing over here, but I love that part.
The thing is, though, is that Hector is more civil to Arturo, which thankfully is good. But I just can't help but laugh at all the jabs that Hector gives this poor guy.
Right? Like, I love the comedy in that, though. All right, so yeah, I have to give this also an 8 out of 10. I like the whole mystery when it comes to the Noir episodes. I thought that was fun. I thought that was like how a mystery episode is supposed to be. But yeah, that's all I can say about it. I thought it was a really fun mystery episode for the Casagrandes, especially when it's their first episode that they brought in for a mystery episode.
Indeed.
All right. So with that in mind, that's pretty much it for our episode reviews. We don't have another episode to review until Curse comes out. So 2 weeks. If we're ever going to do another episode of the LoudCasa Talks, we're probably going to do an episode review of Cursed. So we'll wait till then if they're ever going to happen. But yeah, let's wait for Cursed whenever they come out. Oh, man. All right. Anyways, besides that, let's move over to our main topic today, which is the fun times of the LoudCasa Fandom. Okay? So
yeah. Get into the juicy stuff.
Look, on our first 3 episodes of our season 2 of the LoudCasa Talks, it was pretty intriguing because we pretty much talked about the state of the LoudCasa fandom. Some things were pretty controversial, but to say the least, we have been seeing this all over the fandom, and it has been things that we wanted to address. And, some things have been pretty hurtful. Some things have been, out of line and things like that. But it was just something that we also had to bring up. So I know that things that we say don't change anything when it comes to the fandom, but, it's just something that you just want to talk about. This is the reason why we have these talks. Now, we won't be talking about, all the bad stuff now. That's why in this final part of this 4-part series of the LoudCasa Talks, talking about the fandom and all, we want to talk about the positive stuff that happened in the LoudCasa fandom. I mean, like all the things that have been great that we've been seeing in the LoudCasa fandom. Now, we won't be talking about how we got in. I mean, you could probably look at the first episode of our LoudCasa Talks and, listen to that. But we will talk about some great times we had with, the whole fans of the LoudCasa Talk. I mean, in the LoudCasa fandom. So, Mead, I want to start off with you. Any moments that you had with the fans that you want to bring up that we could begin our talks here?
Oh, I've had many great moments with the Loud House fandom, online and in real life. From our podcast series to the animation festival to live streams to making friends online to making fan art for the show to even being a guest star in a podcast series. Shout out to Sunny for that. Casa Loud Chats. Go subscribe to them right now. Go subscribe to them right now.
Yes, please.
Needless to say,
Loud Chats if you can.
the show. So, needless to say, the show has given me some amazing memories, and I'm not just talking about watching the show itself.
I would say, like, I mean, when we first started the this fan page of the Loud House, we started off with, just seeing how fans are, and how big of a fandom that this has been. I mean, there's just a lot of big moments that I want to talk about. That's why we're going to talk about some of the great moments that we had, me and Omid, when it comes to fans, interacting with them, hanging out with them, talking to them, all that kind of stuff. I think that we want to bring those up because there's just been a lot of positivity when it comes to meeting up with fans here. The first thing I want to talk about, things that we actually never expected to do. And one moment that I cannot forget, or we both cannot forget, would be the actual meetup with actual real fans. And that would be our time back in the Animation Festival back in 2017. I mean, that time was pretty fun to say, right, Omid?
Yes. Like I said, one of the best memories I've had, no doubt.
Look, we met up with a lot of people, like creators, writers, artists. I mean, it was kind of fun the way that we saw it. I mean, we're also starstruck that we actually saw people from the staff actually being there. I didn't know that they actually have a Loud House panel. And I want to bring this back up to you, Omid, because you're the one who actually pointed it out first to me. And I'm like, okay, we need to go. right? Were you the one who actually told me? I
actually showed you that. It was my idea that we go. It was my idea that we go.
It was weird because, like, look, we were from the north part of California, and then we had to drive all the way down to SoCal. It was just a weird, like, it was a plan that we wanted to do all along because we were huge fans of the Loud House. So we were like, why don't we do it? And we did. And to be honest, it was actually our first road trip, me and Omid. So it was a fun time, no doubt. Yeah, I would say. All right, so yeah, we were really starstruck. I could show you pictures about what happened there. So this is me, like 2017. Remember meeting up with Kevin Sullivan? I mean, wasn't that fun meeting up with him?
Yes.
I mean, meeting up with really people like that. You can also look back at I don't know why I'm doing this, but you can look back at the other things too. We also met up with Jordan Koch, met up with I forgot some of the other artists out there. I think the best part of it all when we met up with these people was the fact that we met up with fans. And these great people that I can never forget, by the way. This is back in 2017, so it was 3 years ago. But I met up with these fans, and they're absolutely huge into the Loud House. I remember their names, Jose, Chris, and Jordan. Those three were really talking to, I don't know what, after the panel, we literally we're sitting down in a table together, and all we did was talk about all the great moments of the Loud House. And I'm like, okay. And then what's kind of funny is after the panel, it was around 2:00, and then right when we finished, it was when everybody had to go home. It was 6 p.m. I'm like, we literally waited 4 hours to talk about the Loud House with these fans. This is crazy.
Well worth it though, man.
I know. I know. Man.
Yeah, I never forget Ace Jordan. Ace Jordan was such a cool guy. He's very mature for his age. He's got a bright future ahead of him in terms of working in the animation field. And so, Ace Jordan, if you're somehow watching this or listening to this, I wish you the best and hope you're doing well, my friend.
Okay, so I also do want to point out something that happened in the panel too. One thing I also want to point out is that, look, we were just fans, but then the other people that were there, mostly 75% of that whole panel, were artists, storyboard artists, and people that want to become storyboard artists. And what's kind of funny is that people actually talk to me and it's like, hey, what are you here for? I'm like, I'm an artist. They're introducing themselves to me, and I'm like, I'm an artist who loves to be part of the storyboard meeting, that kind of stuff. How do I get myself in? How do I get myself into the animation field, et cetera, et cetera? And I'm like, yeah, I draw too. I can't say that I'm just a fan. That'll be weird and kind of creepy to say, but to say the least, I was just like, hey, I also draw too. So I getting inspiration from Jordan Koch and Kevin Sullivan and things about being a storyboard artist and all.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who currently draws too, like I draw fan art myself sometimes too. It was just like just meeting Jordan Koch, like meeting all these like animators and artists and all that. Like it was such a pleasant memory to have, especially when years later, when I would get my iPad and then do drawing myself. Like I could pretty much learn a lot from them. Like it's honestly I honestly want to one of the things I want to do is pretty much take animation lessons, like art lessons from these amazing people.
Right. And you know what, though? Just meeting up with them was absolutely great. Just to see them and just give them their words of how to become a storyboard artist and how to become like, an artist and try to get your feet into the animation field and things like that. I mean, like, it just got me inspired to do the same thing as well. And, do the same thing. I'm not going to become like a person who's going to be working in storyboard or working on the next big cartoon. I'm just more of like a fan artist who will just love to draw stuff. And, we'll get more on this later, but I would have to thank the fans for pretty much introducing me to what the Loud House is and doing all this kind of, things that we never expect us to do, like to head out to Los Angeles and actually meet up with these guys. And the fact that these fans are also really amazing people.
Yeah, they're really chill guys. I really miss them. Unfortunately,
I know, me too.
I haven't stayed in contact with them. I haven't stayed in contact with them. I just hope that they're currently staying safe and doing well. But
Yeah.
I just gotta find a way to, contact these guys. So to Chris Gonzalez, Ace Jordan, or Jose. If any of you are watching or listening to this, please hit me up. Let me know how you're doing. I love to hear from you guys.
Right. But the other thing too is that there's a possible chance they have lost interest in the Loud House, and that's fine. I mean, like, if they're growing up and stuff like that. So if they're going to, lose their interest in the Loud House, that's fine with us. I mean, I'm not going to force them to come back into the Loud House. But the thing is that meeting up with these kind of people, I thought was absolutely great.
Honestly, even if they are not currently into the Loud House, I would still consider them friends because of the fact that we're into other shows. See, like Chris Gonzalez is a BoJack Horseman fan, and we're BoJack Horseman fans too. So we have that.
So at least, like, to meet up with these people and becoming friends with them, really close to them. I mean, it was just a starstruck moment, to say the least. I mean, just seeing fans and the fact that some of these fans are also like us. Like they're into animation, they're into so much other things. But the fact is that we were introduced to the Loud House and we all liked it at one moment. And for us now, we may not be friends anymore, but as long as we had like memories like these, I would say that this definitely was a starstruck moment, especially when we were in a panel with the writers and stuff. Like having a fandom moment like this is great.
Yeah, those are memories I'll definitely cherish.
Right. All right. So besides that, there's other things that we also want to bring up too. I mean, like the jump. I mean, like, look, the fan page of the Loud House is everywhere on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now on YouTube. But the jump to Twitter, I think, was a great move for us. Because I must say, because when it all began, we looked at like how the Loud House is over at Twitter, and apparently we see a lot of huge fans over there on Twitter. Best of all, most of the voice actors actually have a Twitter account as well. I mean, Christina Pacelli, Greg Griffin. What's kind of great is that some of them follow us. Like Christina Pacelli follows us. She likes our stuff on on Twitter, and I thought that was great. How do you like your time on Twitter so far when interacting with the Loud House crowd?
It really feels like one big community that I am proud to be a part of, including meeting so many people online that I consider good friends of mine in the fandom. Sunny Eclipse, Natalie, aka Wyoming Parmesan, Ryan W. Mead, Jose B., and other fan artists that I respect, such as Inkuma Bear and Fresh Night. And also there's Animated Antic, who I am proud to have had as one of our guests for our podcast series.
Dude, just having him come up and knowing how huge he is over on Twitter, I didn't like. First off, I never knew that Animated Antic was a person at all. So he, it was just weird how we were able to actually get that interview together. Like, I told him, hey, we were doing something about the future of Nickelodeon. Can you be a part of it? And he's like, yeah, I'm down. I'm like, okay, now we got this going. And you can totally hear that whole Future of Nickelodeon episode on our LoudCasa Talks. That was, I think, a starstruck moment too. Just the fact that we have a big guy who knows his work in animation come into our podcast and actually talk about the future of Nickelodeon, which is true. Nickelodeon is currently in a state of what's going on over there. So we had to address those issues. And it turned out to be a really fun conversation with Animated Antic.
You can tell he's really into animation. Like, he has such a legit passion for it. Just him, like, describing the details, like describing certain scenes in animation, how they have such an impact in the animation field. Like, oh my God, the way he talks about animation, you could tell this guy is a huge expert.
Yeah. And look, I've met up with so many awesome people also on Twitter. I mean, Ryan Mead, he was our guest here. Sunny Eclipse, definitely a person who loves the Loud House and the Casagrandes, and I'm absolutely awesome to have her as a friend. Same with Natalie, Wyoming Parmesan. I think she was one of my first friends that I also met up with when we made the jump to Twitter. But if you go on Twitter, there's just so many awesome fans that will show off their fan art, show off their fandom of the Loud House. And yeah, I would say there's just a lot of people I can name, like Gilbert Gann, Royal Woods Rooster. He was the one who made our LoudCasa Talks new banner, our new logo. You can also talk to JD. To you, man. Yeah, I'll talk to JD. Just so many people out there that are on Twitter that are expressing their love for the Loud House, and it's because of that I will have to say Twitter has been pretty much our main source for the fan page, and I would say these are like legit fans, and I was pretty proud to actually make that jump to Twitter.
Yeah, same here. Like, I feel that like the Twitter community, the Twitter Loud House fandom is much better than the Facebook Loud House fandom, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
I would say so too.
About how, and here's the thing: you never expect from Twitter to be much better than Facebook, because I've heard that Twitter as a whole, like, is very toxic. But in terms of the Loud House fandom and community, it's actually quite the opposite.
Facebook is just, I don't know. It just feels like Facebook has just been weird random bots to say. But then when you go into Twitter, I understand how, some things can be really bad over there. It's just the way that we talked about this before, is the way you follow people. Make sure you follow people that are really legit, that are really true fans. And if you follow them, then you will have a fun time on Twitter. So if you ever do those kind of stuff, like, follow a person and you think that then you find out that he's a bad person, then unfollow him. But the other thing too is, like, look, you control how your Twitter or your Facebook or your Instagram or your social media accounts work. So to say the least, you have to decide who you friend, who you follow, who you love to be friends with, and then you'll have a fun time in whatever social media platform you go to. So yeah, good lessons to learn.
Yeah, it's pretty much common sense. It's common sense when you do think about it.
Exactly. So if you ever do it, like I said, you got to do that. So yeah. I mean, just so much memorable parts when it comes to people that we see on Twitter or on our social medias. I think the best part of our fans is that some of our fans are very talented people, like especially when it comes to fan art, drawing Loud House or Casagrandes characters. I mean, they've been so engaged with so many fan artists that when I discovered them on Twitter, I mean, I even commissioned a couple of people to make fan arts for me, which turned out to be a great investment. Like, if you have the time, please support these artists, because I understand right now, especially when it comes to a pandemic, people have lost their jobs, people have not gone to school, have not done this or that, and that they're really relying on some sort of income to, get them back on their feet. And whenever somebody comes up on Twitter or on DeviantArt or anybody who says like, hey, our commissions are open, I'll do my best to accommodate when it comes to commissions and things like that. Yeah. So here's the thing I also want to talk about here. So the best part of it all is that we engage on our fans as well. So we do things like the best character tournament, the best episode tournament every year, which always gets a green turnout. I mean, seeing how all the fans here on Twitter and on Instagram have been voting, and I thought that was pretty cool having all the fans come in and vote. We want to plan more of giveaways and more best episode, best character tournaments. We think that's fun for our fan page to do that for all the fans out there. But of course, we're limited in resources. I mean, that Lincoln plushie you see back there, I mean, I had to really pay a lot for that. It's not a Crane game thing anymore. I mean, like there's people out there who are currently selling this, and I'm like, I want it, so I had to invest a couple of bucks on that. I mean, the thing is, like, things aren't free. We can't really give out stuff, but our thing is that we're always dedicated to, accommodate as much fans as we can. That's why we do all these game nights, for example. So like we did a game night a couple of months ago, playing Jeopardy. Rest in peace, Alex Trebek.
May you rest in peace.
Yeah, I mean, the game nights were fun, interacting with so many fans that were loving to make them test their knowledge on the Loud House and the Casagrandes. That we want to reward them for being a part of that. That's why we give away like comic books, plushies, a lot of other things. I don't know if we're gonna do another game night anytime soon, but I mean, a giveaway is also possible too. I mean, it all depends on how the fans are reacting to it. And if you guys are down, we could be down to do more game nights or more giveaways if possible. I just hope you guys, see how crazy it is sometimes when it comes to doing all of this.
Yeah, honestly, we got to bring back those, challenges, trivias, games. Like, we got to bring those back. Like, I miss doing those.
Dude, remember that the shirt you're wearing right now, by the way, it's a giveaway item that we did before, right?
Represent my girl. What's up?
That was the time where I actually made t-shirts like that, and that was pretty cute.
Yeah, thanks so much for this, man.
Yeah, no problem about that. But yeah, I mean, there's so much that we can do for our fans out there. I mean, any other stories that you want to bring up that you had with fans recently?
I remember there was this one time when we were pulling for Racing Hearts to win. Remember that?
Oh God, Racing Hearts versus the Horoscope? So
yes,
it was Saluna versus Ronikin.
When Racing Hearts won, me and Jose B were celebrating so hard. I was like, Saluna celebration! We are the champions.
Look, I was on the side of Ronikin because I was thinking that episode was absolutely like a roller coaster. Like, oh, is he going to confess? Is he not? Is he going to confess? Is he not? Ronnie Ann is like in a panic. I like that episode. That was huge. I thought that was going to beat it.
I like Horoscope, but Racing Hearts is superior to it because we got to know more about Sam, and we see the Saluna relationship unravel, by showing their differences. So that's why personally to me, it's no bias at all. I choose Racing Hearts. So me and Jose were celebrating at the end, and it got to the point where he made his own fan art of me and Jose B, pretty much doing a cheer sort of thing, like, with the mugs and then a root beer, then it's kind of like, celebrating the Saluna win. Like,
I crazy like that.
I want to. Hey, do check out Jose B's fan art. Like, it's really good, and we have a good friendship. We bond over Saluna because we're both Saluna fans. So yeah, like if you know that guy, you know him and his drawings.
Seeing fan interactions like that makes the whole part of being part of this fandom like really fun and all. I mean, meeting up with Sunny and Seren for doing like podcast episodes, I think that was like really fun to do, and interacting with fan artists, making fan arts based off commission. I think that's what's also like a good investment to be in. So like I said, really good to have. So to say the least, note all of the fun times are just because we've been engaging with our fans. That just makes us feel good making a fan page like this. So I wish we could thank you all with something, but we'll just have to see how it'll be in the future, All right.
Yes. All right, so let's see what the future holds, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, the future is out there. I mean, we don't know what we could probably do to help out all the fans out there, but to say the least, I mean, we have to thank every fan who has been helping out and making our fan page what it is, All right. So
your support means so much to us.
Yeah, and so let's move on to our next part here, which is the fan reactions. I did put up a question out on Twitter saying, how did you get into the Loud House and the Casagrandes? And I want to bring up a couple of people that would love to had some good answers. So let's bring it up here. This person's from Yahomi JD. Interesting. Here's this the pilot short from 2013. It was a major school topic. A major school topic, really? To talk about the Loud House?
Right, a school? Whoa.
Yeah.
I wish it was my major school topic.
When we all learned it was going to be a show, it became one of the most talked things ever. So the pilot, the whole Loud House pilot that came out, and it turned out to be a really huge major school topic for that person.
Yeah, it was a bathroom break one. The one where Lincoln was trying to get to the bathroom, but he has to go through all his sisters first. I remember that.
Yeah, that was a good short, but I didn't expect this short to become like a big topic point in school. I guess that's how it got a lot of fans into the show. All right, so let's look at this guy, Liam Fitzgerald. He had a reaction on this one. Let's see here. Honestly, it was the episode The Waiting Game. It really had a strong focus on Lincoln and Lori, who are my favorite sibling bonding. And I love it to bits, especially the ending. I've been into the Loud House since 2017. I still am today. So that's how he got started, by watching The Waiting Game. And that episode was actually pretty good too, except the fact that there's Chandler in that episode.
Yeah, nice. I like The Waiting Game as well. Like, it's one of those that really does highlight Lincoln and Lori's sibling bond. And honestly, like, that's one of the major gripes that I had with Ghosted. Like I said, how it just kind of shafted that bond. Like, I felt that's what kind of like
forget about that. I mean, the fact that they had a Lori Lincoln bonding moment over at The Waiting Game was actually pretty sweet. The fact that Lincoln's taking advantage of Lori, and Lori couldn't go to the prom, and Lincoln doing a sacrifice to get away from the party and actually work for Lori, which I thought was really cute. Which is amazing how Lincoln can become like a really mature person to help Lori get into the prom dance and everything. So that's great.
The only downside, though, is that it's the first appearance of who.
Yeah, Chandler?
He who must not be named.
Oh, too bad. I just said it. All right, let's go for another one here. Blade Sword 91 answered this one. Here it is. I got into the show in July 2016, just 2 months after it premiered. I loved it ever since. It got me interested in drawing again, a passion I thought I lost a long time ago. By the way, Lana's a precious baby girl who must be protected at all costs. True. Lana's actually a precious baby. Do not hurt her, that little girl.
We all know how you feel about Lana, Blade. And I would just say that, as someone who has Lana Loud as one of his favorite characters, like Lana Loud's one of my top 5 favorites. I definitely agree. Lana must be protected.
True. All right, so let's also bring up one of our favorites, Sunny Eclipse. She also did put up her story here. Let's read it here. I've told the story before, but I saw Jordan Rosado's Save the Date poster on Tumblr and was interested in the idea of Lincoln getting a love interest. So I watched Save the Date the night it premiered, and the rest was history. Now I loved it. Been in the fandom for 4 to 5 years. So that episode did start Ronniekin. And then you know her. She's a huge Ronniekin fan, so the rest is history.
So that alone does make sense why she's a huge Ronniekin fan. Like, she's the biggest Ronniekin fan I know. So it's nice to know that an episode like Save the Date is what got her into the show and what got her into Ronniekin. So that's a really nice story, Sunny.
Yeah, and FYI, Save the Date is really underrated. I think that episode is a really good episode. Everyone else says it's shit, but I say it's a good episode. Ronniekin for the win.
I actually thought it was kind of overrated. Like, honestly, like I don't like Save the Date myself all that much. Like, but to each its own, though.
Yeah, right.
I understand why you guys. I understand why some like it. I understand why that episode has a special place in Sunny's heart because of those reasons. And I say, you know what? I totally respect that. Like,
this.
I may not. I may not.
This wouldn't have started Ronniekin. This would have started Ronniekin, and you've seen what's going on now with Ronnie and Lincoln. Now we hope that we actually have a good engagement with those two.
Yeah, we got to build up. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if it wasn't for that episode, it wouldn't have the horoscope. And look at how the horoscope was. It was a freaking amazing episode.
Which is fine. I just felt that episode was just a rocky start, but thankfully each episode got better and better.
Right. All right. So let's. We have time for one more person. Let's bring in Real Gilbert Gann. He had this to say about his how he got into the Loud House. Here it is. It all stemmed from the influence of Christina Pacelli. I'll be honest, she's a great influencer to fans to watch. Second, when I heard Allison Storer would voice Sam Sharp, since I'm a fan of Allison since Phineas and Ferb. And third, Sid Chang. So there's a lot of reasons there. I would say, you know what, to each their own, but pretty good valid points there. Sid Chang's awesome. Sam Sharp's awesome. And Christina Pacelli is a great person to talk to.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a combination of the three. And I'm just like, okay, all three are legit reasons. You win, Gilbert Gann. No, everyone wins. Everyone wins. Everyone's a winner.
But overall, we love our fans. And the fact that we, continue to make a fan page like that and you guys continuing to support us is just always amazing. And I just hope this continues on. But who knows? I mean, as long as the show dies or gets canceled or pretty much ends, we're still going to be here no matter what.
Yes. It's not only our love for the Loud House that keeps us going, it's also the love and respect from you guys that keeps us going as well and keeps our fan page active. So for that, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you guys so much. We love you, Loud Crowd and Casa Crew.
Yep. Thank you very much, everybody. Now, that's it for our talks when it comes to the Loud Casa Fandom. That's pretty much it. We're going to be bringing back our regular talks after this. So on our next Loud Casa Talks, let's actually preview that. We have one new episode coming out called Cursed, and we know it's a crossover episode. But how effective are crossover episodes? Are they really be effective for, each? Because there's been a lot of cartoons that do crossover episodes, aka Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, the Family Guy and Simpsons crossover. So do they really work? Do they actually make fans really like the crossover ideas and stuff like that? So that's why we are going to be talking about in our next Loud Casa Talks. Are crossovers really effective, especially when we have Loud House and Casagrandes ones?
That's going to be a pretty big and interesting topic to talk about. I can't wait to, put my 2 cents into it.
Yeah, that's a lot to think about. So our next episode will probably be when Cursed comes out. We're going to be reviewing that then. But remember that you can also listen to our podcast on all of our podcast providers, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and all other podcast providers. And also you can be able to watch our recordings of our Loud Casa Talks here on YouTube anytime. So if you guys can, please subscribe to our Loud Casa to our fan page of the Loud House YouTube page. And that's pretty much it for our recording here. So definitely a great night for us. Thank you very much, Omid, for coming by and doing another Loud Casa Talks episode with me.
No problem, man. Thank you so much for having me here.
And for everybody who's been watching on our YouTube, thank you very much for checking in. We're done here for this episode. So my name is Nate.
And this is Omid saying good night, Loud Crowd and Casa Crew. And until next time, see you later, dudes.
All right. Thank you very much for checking out the stream. We'll see you guys.